forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based.
Hi Mario. Hi Siri. How are you guys?
We're
Hi,
doing
Wonderful. So let's start with the question. So let's see.
Okay, of course. So the first question is it's a feature question for today. So it says how can someone present a petition with aggressiveness and rigor while safeguarding credibility and maintaining ethical integrity?
Oh, that's great. Actually, a very nice question. But I think there is a fundamental something is missing in terms of, if I may use the word, little understanding here. Ethical integrity has to be maintained at all cost. There is absolutely no question about it. Let's understand. The question here is that how can one present a petition with aggressiveness and rigor while safeguarding credibility? I mean, I think that's the core part here. Now, I think the issue of aggressiveness is not being understood in the context what it should be required. Now, let's understand that in any petition, there are three dimensions. The first is the evidences, period. And evidences are based on facts. Okay? They are based on the actual. So, let us say, for example, you have a membership, you need all details for the membership. You have, let us say, done a judging opportunity, you have a proof of all the fact that you were invited, you participated, there was an impact, there was a kind of some kind of a rubric that was being assessed that you, okay, so there would be some all the parameters and there is a thank you mail or something, so you create those evidences. Now the whole challenge is that you have done this job. Now if you do not have any one of these, it does not constitute anything. Let's understand. You cannot do anything. So this is the first step. The second step is that you need to present it in a way that can it uses logic and rationality. So you say that, okay, I was there on so and so date, I did this, I did that, and you create a kind of a documentation or something that creates a logically metrics that you create. So you have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 judgings. You have everything with you here. Actually, you show this. And the last is, then we talk about, is something that you would call is a legal argument. Now, these three are the pillars of any criteria, any evidence that you make actually here. I repeat, the first is the evidence. Second is logical rationality and or sometimes scientific, merit and metrics. And the last is what we have here is what we would call is you would have a some legal and logical argument. That these are the three dimensions that you are there. If you are not able to do this, okay, it does not form. Now, aggressiveness is always possibly in the legal argument. Okay, if there are no evidences, now comes a second question is that how I would define aggressiveness is that one is the way that you kind of, okay, and I'm going to give you a very direct example in this. Somebody gets a award and we have seen that there are some RFEs or something that are coming in which says that, oh, you got a silver award. Since you did not get a gold award, you are not at the best of your field. Okay, you got a bronze award, you are not. Now we can counter this aggressively by preempting this and creating a nullification impact in your petition that legally it would not be possible for someone to reject it because you got a silver award. But the fact remains that so that is called aggressiveness. Please understand. There is nothing unethical about it. Number one, credibility has to be maintained because every evidence that you give, that is always that has to be authentic, credible, and probative. Okay, that will have to be there. Now, this is how this entire kind of a petition has to be created, and that is what is required. Period. Aggressiveness is not in evidence submission. Evidence is not in, logical argument. You cannot create a aggressive logical argument. Either it is or it is not. Simple. But you can create a aggressive argument only for the purpose of legal argument. So, first of all, again, I will come back. There is no question of not missing the ethical integrity. There is no question of your evidence or argument being non-credible. Safeguarding, it has to be there. And aggressiveness, it has to be rigorous. So the question only is of aggressiveness. It is only so that we make it, kind of from the legal perspective, challenging. So we are preempting all the, all the, omissions. It becomes, we are preempting rejection and trying to cover that up in the before. That simple as that. Okay. So let's move to the next question.
Yeah, absolutely. So our next question, I think, can piggyback pretty well off of our featured question, but essentially they ask, what's the biggest red flag that you see in early EB1A hopefuls that they themselves don't necessarily recognize in that moment?
Wonderful. I think I'm glad that we are getting an opportunity to respond to this question, because almost 99% of the people who come here who see EB1A for the first time, they try to fit themselves into the criteria. They feel that, everybody meets a critical role and, something salary possibly. And they had written some paper sometimes during their college days or something, and they feel they can this will meet the requirement for EB1A. No, it doesn't work like this. Those criteria are lens. So this is the biggest mistake that they have, that you fulfill 3 criteria or a little more. So that's number one, I think, red flag that I've seen with people. I really don't want to call it a red flag in strict sense. It is just a kind of a misunderstanding that people have. The second, what they feel is that, not that they are just 3 criteria, they feel that somebody else got it, and their friend, their neighbor, their friend's friend got it, and so if he can get it, I can get it. I mean, that's again basic mistake. I feel that people have been claiming that, something like this, and that has been a motivation. That's not the right motivation, actually. So the first is misunderstanding about the criteria and some wrong motivation itself, actually. I think you have to understand that the idea behind EB1A is that you need to be the best version of yourself, and you get EB1A for only 3 things. Number one is that, you are an expert of a highest order. At least you have to be in the top of your field of expertise. Okay. Number 2, you need to, you need to present yourself in the most beneficial manner that US can get benefit. And the third is that you will continue in your field of expertise. There are only 3 things, nothing more than that. Okay. So let's continue with the next question.
Of course. So the next question is, what does a weak high salary argument look like?
Okay, there is no, first of all, in weak salary criteria application. I mean, let's talk. There is no weak argument is weak. I don't understand why you are using the word argument here. But anyway, so if we have seen people getting $1 million salary and still getting rejected. Okay, now why is it so? Because simply people don't understand that you are just fulfilling the fact that you are getting a salary is not important. The fact is why you are getting a salary is important. Okay. In fact, can you connect it to your expertise? Not connecting to your expertise would make it a weak presentation. You see, argument is based on 2 facts. One is it a scientific, okay, rather 3 facts, I would say that. The first is logical. Any argument that you present is always logical and rational. You are just talking, okay, you are creating a logic out of it, and you are saying, okay, this is, A is equal to B, B is equal to C, so A is equal to C. That's called logical and rational. Okay, but it is not always true. Okay, because when we use the word in logic also, when you say A is a cousin of B, B is a cousin of C. So it does not mean that A is a cousin of C. You understand? I mean, there is always a kind of this is logical and rational, but when it cannot do it, then you use scientific merits. and scientific this thing. Oh, you prove it actually. They had a common mother, you had this thing, and then mother, father, brother, sister. You create a science out of it, relationships, and then you say that this is, you draw charts, okay, and a family tree, and then you show it. That becomes scientific. And third is legal argument. In that legal argument, you need to, kind of use some existing laws, regulations, and something. You use a doctrine of relationships or something, then you prove that what is the relationship between the two by creating those scientific argument. But you cannot just simply, make a statement and assume that it will be true. So when there is no argument, okay, anything. So I think I can respond to this in a way that any weak argument for that matter, for EB1A criteria, is something when it is not based on logic and rationality, it does not have element of scientific merit into it, and it does not apply law properly. These would be the three ways that I would like to respond to this actually. Any argument contradicting it does not use that academic acumen, it would not fail. Just giving evidence is not sufficient. That it is because of, you give a W-2s, and even we have seen that actually people getting $1 million salary. In fact, there was a case in 2024, I remember December, somebody running a company worth 200 million valuation was rejected actually. And I think that person went on a Twitter or something, and we don't know what was the logical argument that was created, what was the scientific merit that was established, and what was the legal basis on which the claim was being made. So this is, I think I like this question very well, but I think it's very important, I would say that all the three elements in an argument. So in next league, what we do is that when any presentation has to be made for every fact that exists, we do it by these three ways to do that actually. Okay, so let's move to the next question.
Yeah, absolutely. So our next question, they ask, how do you measure credibility of media coverage? I have several articles about my work that have been covered by large and small media outlets. Should I include both or just the larger organization itself?
I love this question. So just now I mentioned about merit actually, and we talk about arguments. That's another two things that we spoke about. Measure credibility with the moment you are using the word measure, it means it has to be quantified. Okay, now there are different ways to present a media. There is something called as AVE. There is something called as Barcelona principle, 4.0 or 3.0. There are ways to do a measurement of a media coverage. It has certain factors. So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to present this in a very scientific manner in this particular case, by just saying this. So there is another way. So you just give a logical argument by saying that, you have done this, and this came in Times of India, this came in New York Times. That is just a presentation, just a logical argument possibly. Now comes the next is, again, we are talking about is scientific merit. It means you quantify your work actually. You are quantifying your work in a way that, there is something called as Barcelona principle. Yeah, there's something called as Barcelona principle, then advertisement value added. So you have to create that actually. You need to know the number of publication, number of circulation, region, everything, and then you create some kind of a factors for that. We do this for all our students in the program. So that's how it has been pretty successful. It is not only, and then you create a legal argument based on the fact which exists actually. Okay, now these are the methods that are being used. We don't know which article, this is a very generic question. Ordinarily, I would have said, we don't know which media is there, so without the facts, I cannot answer this question. But I'm not while I'm not qualifying myself to give a specific case in this particular answer, but we don't know actually that which article. So how can meritorious argument can be presented using AVE or as I said, Barcelona, or a legal basis? I don't know, but I think this is the three ways that we have to use it actually. And people who have been successful in doing that, because anything that you talk from a scientific basis cannot be, you know, can be challenged. Let's understand. Anything that you give on a scientific basis cannot be challenged. So the whole issue is that if you try to cover up everything from the scientific basis, it will be excellent for you. Okay? And let's take the last question now.
Okay, so another of our aspirants asked, I work in AI and machine learning. I've co-authored a few papers, but I'm not the first author. Most of my impact has been deploying models into production at scale. Does USCIS value real-world implementation as much as academic publications?
Absolutely. Please understand that anything what you say does not have any impact, it does not have any value. So you need to do this actually. Okay, so that would be is really wonderful actually in that sense. I liked that what you're saying, that real world impact, it has to be there, and you have to present it with a quantifiable or qualitative metrics. Okay, so that's all we have here for today. So wish you all the best. And if you have any more questions, please send us, or we are also invited at times to come to this session for live, and we can discuss together if you have any questions. If you want to join next week, reach out to Mario, Syria, or I, and we'll be always be happy to help you. So have a wonderful Saturday, guys, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any further questions or need personalized guidance, please reach out to us. We are here to help you every step of the way in your journey towards achieving your American dream. Let's connect and make it happen together.